Small diversion in the radio building. I seen this article a number of years ago and I always wanted to build one. A micro Karlson cabinet. Karlsons are notorious, or not notorious, famous I should say. You can spot them a mile away. They have this wedge shape. Normally it's curved, and this one they just did it flat just to save time. This is a micro cabinet somebody built in Popular Electronics in 1957, and it's for a 1.5-inch speaker. Well, as you can see here, I've got a junk 3-inch one. So what I did is I took all the measurements off of this. There's all your parts. Doubled them. And now I got a little gluing project I'm going to put together. I want to see what one of these things actually sound like. And what I did, instead of the straight edges, I went ahead and did the round sides, like you're supposed to with a Karlson. Supposedly up here, that's where your high frequencies go, and then your bass notes come down from the bottom. So this was a standard 1950s design. I always wanted to know what the fuss was all about, so I'm about to find out. And that speaker is pretty damn good, considering. It's got a nice deep throw to it, so we'll have to see what kind of throaty bass comes out of it once I get this thing assembled. Okay, the other thing that's unique about the Karlson has kind of an acoustic chamber, if you want to call it that. The highs are supposed to come here, and of course your bass down here. This is cocked at an angle. So, in my parts, right here, this section, they said you needed to cut a notch. So I went ahead and done that. This is ready. Here is the speaker, I guess you'd call it the baffle board for something like this. I'm going to go ahead and attach that, put it together, and then I'm going to start assembling the cabinet. Okay, baffle board is in place. I'm hoping this is going to be enough of the correct pitch. There's so much magnet on here. I think that one goes at a steeper grade. We're going to have to see what happens here. They may allow for that, I'm not sure. I'll probably put a dab of glue or solder on each one of these to keep these from vibrating loose. And of course I'm leaving the terminals up top here so I can get easy access to them and get them soldered once I'm ready. Now on to the rest of the cabinet. Okay, got the main gluing done. Almost just like building a battery case that I do for my batteries. Just pretty much butt joints is what they're asking for. Now the only problem I've got is I miscalculated on one of them, so as soon as this thing is all glued up and dried, I'm just going to take a saw to that and shear that little edge off. We'll have us a nice solid box. And we'll take off the excess glue, and once that's done it's just a matter of getting the rest of the cabinet taken care of. So next thing I'm going to do, fire up the iron, and I'm going to wire up some wires for the speaker. Before I did anything else, I wanted to just dummy fit everything, and I realized I made another miscalculation. This little spacer here is supposed to meet up with this, and it doesn't. And I realized what I did wrong. When I doubled the calculations listed in here, I didn't put into the figuring the thickness, 1/4 inch wood. So I'm going to have to wait until this all dries, and then I will take a saw, cut this section off, probably about a good, I don't know, probably about 1/2 inch, then re-glue this part back down on here. Then everything should match up properly. But, you know, that's what happens when you think you're going to be able to outsmart yourself and make all the calculations right. But other than that, I'm pretty impressed with what I see here. And what's even nicer, it is going to be a smaller speaker than I thought. So all I need to do is just lop off a little bit off the side here, and this will be it here. Let me take a look here. I'll have to do the rest of this tomorrow in the morning before I go to work. Yeah, it's going to be something like this. More of a gap than I thought, but I think that's okay. That's the way it should be. Small gap, and then it gracefully curves. And that's the hallmark of a Karlson speaker. So, stay tuned. I'm going to lop off a few things on each side tomorrow, and then tighten things up, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I've got it dummied together. I've had all sorts of fit and finish problems. I'm going to have to trim this off a little bit. I still got screwed up. First I had these too high, so I trimmed them off. Well, when I did that, these are too low. It's kind of like sawing off a leg on a table and then making it shorter than the rest, and you got to make those shorter, and then you got to make those shorter, but I just got to trim this off. It's a little bit crooked, but I just want to dummy this together and see what it does, and I'll clean it up later. So there it is, and here's the air plenum for the high notes, and of course this for the low. I'm ready to put the wings on here, and we'll see what happens. Well, I've got it hooked up, and I gotta say, for a small speaker, it doesn't do too bad. I'm still gonna have to trim this off, make this look nice. I was in a hurry since I'm gonna be going to work shortly. I wanted to try this out. I'm really impressed with it. I've got it hooked up to my night amplifier down there. Turn the bass up, and it really sounds good. I'm most impressed, so I think I'm going to finish this project up, and I'm going to get some more wood at Hobby Lobby or wherever, and I think it's time to build another one. Have a set of micro bookshelf speakers, if you will, that are going to fit with the Karlson design. So I am very impressed with this.
Damn.
Well, shit pickle. I said it again. I think I'm going to change my name from Battery Maker to Fuck Up Freddy. And cutting this down to size, I've chuffed it left and right on this side. I fucked the whole cabinet up, so I'm going to have to redo this whole cabinet. But the theory works. Makes for a nice sound. So I'm going to go on ahead and post this video just to show you that a micro Karlson can be made. I'm just going to have to go to Hobby Lobby or wherever, get some more material. See, I even fucked all this up over here. It's just, you ever have a day where you just feel like everything I touch turns to shit? That's pretty much what it's been this last few weeks. First with that thing over there, which I've just about got back up, caught up on, the mini port, and now this thing. So, the theory works. You've heard it yourself. I'm just going to redo the cabinet, the pieces. It's easy enough to do. I'm going to remeasure it. That's just the right size. And one of these days, I'm going to introduce you to a little stereo. If you can see it back here, it's all brass. It's made by Knight. It's one of the first all-transistor stereos made in 1962, and I desperately need some help with that from anyone out in the YouTube community. So I'll be talking about that later. But in the meantime, I'm going to go buy some lumber and redo these.